Welcome to Mad About Money. I'm Maddy Alexander-Grout, and this is the podcast where we talk to interesting people all about their interesting money stories. I am here with Jane Pangbourne, who is the founder of Menopausal Not Mad. She is an HRT and menopause expert, and somebody that I really like talking to. We have lots in common. So I'm really excited about today. We're going to be talking a bit about what Jane does, a bit about menopause and how it affects you money-wise. But to start off with, Jane, tell me a little bit about you.
Hi, Maddy. Yeah, we do talk a lot.
We do, it's
We
lovely.
talk about everything, don't we? But yes, so a little bit about me. My name is Jane Pangbourne, obviously. I'm coming up to 57. I run Menopausal Not Mad and essentially support women with their menopause and HRT, as well as associated areas of health around that. And I'm a mum, I'm a stepmom, and my husband keeps telling me to retire, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
I think no, you're too entrepreneurial to want to retire. I
So
often think about what I will do in 20 years' time, and I can still see myself like on TikTok doing my thing if it's still around by that point.
yeah, definitely. Or whatever TikTok becomes at that stage. Yeah.
There'll be something else. If TikTok goes, there will be something else. I just have to find somewhere new and start again, which is
Yeah.
annoying when you've spent like a year and a half growing on one platform. But anyway, that's another story.
That's another story.
So, Jane, tell me a little bit about money and how it's shown up for you. What's your money story?
Well, do you know, that's the first time anybody's ever asked me that, Maddy. So I'm not sure how concise my response will be. And I haven't rehearsed this answer, as you know. So I don't have a story of being brought up in poverty. I don't have a story of being in a terrible situation with money. However, I've done quite a lot of work on my own money story. As you know, we have sort of similar business contacts, and I've realised that money, my money mindset has been quite warped over the years. Now, I've been, as you said, entrepreneurial for many years. I'm an old bird now, so you know I've been in business on and off for about 30 years. I've had training companies, and I've had health businesses before, where I'm always helping people in some way or other, but they vary in some form. And I never understood why I was so bad at being an employee. So that's the kind of ADHD side of my head. Just didn't really know how to communicate with people, even though I was in high level management in some cases. I still just couldn't really get my head around it. But I've realized I'm creative, entrepreneurial, been doing that for 30 odd years, but could never understand why I found it so difficult to ask for the sale and ask for the money, or to work out what the price of something should be. I know, like you, Maddy, I know I'm really good at what I do, and people really want to work with me, and I love that. And I welcome that, and I have lots of clients I've had for years. However, my story from years ago is that my father moved us around quite a lot. He was always getting itchy feet with his job, probably similar like me, didn't really enjoy being an employee, but didn't really understand what that was all about. So he moved us.
Do you think he had ADHD?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
No longer alive, but now that you and I know a lot more about ADHD, I know that that's the reason why he and I didn't really get on very well, because we had kind of different levels going on. And as I was growing up, I was trying to find my way in the world, and he was sort of stuck in this ADHD vacuum, I think, which meant that every time he had a job and he was in, you know, good management role, he would move us as a family, myself, my brother, and my mum. Every 2 or 3 years, we would move house. So I was always the new girl at school, which made me into a different person, really. That's not meant to be a blame comment. It's more of just a fact. You have to be quite feisty to be the new girl all the time, just to make friends.
I was the same, actually.
You just have to, it's a way of coping, isn't it? Everything else. But from a money perspective, I have clear memories of us not being short of money. You know, we lived in big houses in nice, well-to-do middle-class areas. So, you know, I wasn't short of money. We weren't as a family. However, my dad was very stingy with money. And when it came to it was almost like money was it's probably a little bit of an over the top word, this, but I'm going to say money was a bit of a weapon, because, and I don't mean that quite how it sounds, but I can't think of a better word, where it was almost to hold me, and I don't know about my brother's experience, I've never asked him this, so if he's listening to this podcast he might have a different opinion, but almost to hold me to ransom. So I was never allowed to have, even though the money was there, I was never allowed to have, let's say, in my day, pixie boots were a thing. That's I am. And I was told, no, you don't need those. They're just fashion. They'll be out of fashion soon. I was like, all my friends have pixie boots. So I'd be bought something cheaper and less pleasant to look at, and told that's what you're getting. Well, I appreciate that, makes me sound like a little spoiled princess, but that sort of thing made me go, well, nobody's listening to me. Nobody cares what I actually want. And really, when I ask for something that's worth a certain amount, people say no. The important people in my life say no.
Do you know what, that's reminded me of a story. So like I was very much the same. Like I remember, like I went through like a chavvy stage. And my parents were like, you're not a chav, you're very middle class, you're not like, there's no way that you're going to be a chav. And I really wanted, do you remember like the Adidas popper trousers?
Want to be a chav, that cracks me up. That's so funny.
But no, I really did, because I didn't fit in. So I was trying really hard to, like, even though I knew deep down in my heart that I wasn't. I really wanted to fit in with like
the big shiny tracksuit, you mean?
I wanted Adidas popper trousers and a bomber jacket, and my parents were like, that's not you.
That's not
and I was
happening.
like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And they wouldn't give me the money to buy one. And one day I remember, and this is like just this is a big thing about wanting to fit in so badly. I remember being at school, and like, I don't know why, but I was last getting change in the changing rooms, and there was a pair of Adidas popper trousers, and I stole them. I took them home with me.
You were so desperate for them.
I was so desperate for them. I wrote my name in the label, and I took them home. The next day, I went into school and I got called to the head teacher, and they said, Maddy, did you take some Adidas popper trousers? And I said, no, I didn't.
What, she said no?
They were like, can we check in your bag, please? And I said, my parents bought me those. And they were like, we don't think that they did. We think that you've taken them from this girl. And her name was on the other side of the label.
Bad planning, Maddy. Come on.
Oh my God. I mean, attention to detail, Maddy. Damn you, ADHD.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
But I remember just being so ashamed and so embarrassed that I'd wanted to fit in so badly that I'd stolen something. And it was an impulse. It was an ADHD impulse thing. I was like, I need that thing. I'm going to have that
happening.
thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I did the same, actually, when not quite the same thing, but in terms of impulse. And I know it's not really a money story comment, but I did the same when I was 13, on impulse, and there was no reason for me to do this. I was in BHS in a large town, of which I won't mention it, just in case anybody knows me from there. I was only 13.
Shoplifter, get her out.
And I honestly, I was devastated when I did this. I had money in my purse, and I was in the makeup area, and I just thought, oh, a bit of a laugh to swap the price labels over on 2 lipsticks to get one cheaper than I had more than enough money in my purse. I had my allowance. I did it and went to pay for it, and then as I was leaving the shop, the store detective, hand on shoulder, pulled in, and actually the police got involved. I was only 13, but
oh no, you did actually pay for something. I
did pay for it, and it was stealing.
I think probably about the same age. I actually went through a stage where all of my friends were shoplifting, and I did it again. I did it to fit in.
There was a bit of
guilt.
I mean, the guilt really is a big thing, and I felt terrible. Although from a sort of attention perspective, I did get quite a lot of attention from my parents, who then, obviously had to take notice of me. So I'm sure there's some sort of psychological underlying thing going on there. But it was really dealt with well, not by my parents, I might add, but by the police, because they cautioned me a few months later, even though I was only 13, with my parents. But that was brilliant. Really, really good way to do it, because there was no way I was going through that again.
No, absolutely not.
I've stopped me in my tracks. It was not even for a giggle would I have done that again, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I was going through, like, my parents were getting separated, and I was going through like a bit of a tough I was going through a bit of a tough time, and I think maybe I was trying to get, like, I was trying to fit in with the cool kids. Like, I never fitted in with any crowd at school, and it was always really difficult, and that meant that I did things that I wouldn't normally have morally done to try
No,
and actually
no,
fit
because you
in
know
with.
right from wrong, don't you?
Oh
But
God,
it
yeah,
doesn't
of
mean you don't make
course,
mistakes.
yeah. And stealing was not okay. And I only did it a handful of times, but I remember, like, one Christmas, like, because my parents were getting divorced, I remember my mum read my diary, and she wasn't reading to pry. She was reading because she wanted to see if I'd had a nice Christmas, because she was worried about me. And at the time, I was like, oh, she's read my diary. This is the most horrific thing in the world. But then,
Funny.
like, later on, I was like, I get it. I like, if I was a parent at the time, I would do exactly the same,
Yeah.
because I was mental health wise not in a good place, and I think
No,
she
and
was
you've got,
worried.
she
So
obviously cared about you and wanted to make
yeah,
sure that you were
but I remember her being incredibly cross with me, and I'd also started to kind of investigate boys, and I was doing some things that I maybe shouldn't have done at that age. And yeah, it was.
I
I
don't
think
think that's the
again.
money story, is it, Maddy? I think that's a different
Well,
story.
that's a completely different story. But I mean, but again, it does relate to ADHD, and it relates to the whole dopamine seeking thing,
You're
and
right.
trying to fit in when you're not really, you haven't found your place. My place, I think, when I was in my, like, early teens, was like, just, find as many boys as possible, and I was just trying to distract myself from the fact that I was so out there and just weird. But
I was exactly the same, and I never thought of myself as weird, but I look back at it and I think actually I was weird. I mean, my
yeah,
dopamine hit same as you, boys, fags, booze,
yeah,
all
same.
three at the same time quite often.
Yes, yeah. Oh my God, the parties. And I think that was the other thing. I remember my mum, like, at the same time as her reading my diary, she found my secret stash of, like, booze and cigarettes, and, like, all the things that I was, like, hiding in my drawer. I don't know how she never even thought to look in there before. But
It's
I
obvious.
think, I mean, I wasn't a problem child. I wasn't, like, out getting drunk every weekend, but I did, I experimented with stuff as a child, when like you do.
She did.
But it kind of shapes you, and I think, weirdly, similar situation from a background perspective.
Mm.
I came from quite a middle class family,
Yeah,
but there were things that I wasn't allowed, and
yeah,
that made me want those things even more, and I would
yeah.
go to desperate measures to get them. And I also think that when that affected me as an adult,
Mm.
because when I finally had some money and I went away to university, that's when I developed my spending addiction, because
Mm.
I just finally had some freedom and I could buy
Yeah,
whatever I wanted to, so I just bought everything.
yeah, yeah.
Again, lots of fags and booze, but it was just
But
it was, clothes, things that, my parents had previously said no, I couldn't have. I was just like, I've got this money, but it wasn't money, it was all credit. And
yeah.
recently I've been in the papers. Actually, there was a headline: woman didn't realize that she had to pay back credit card. And I'm like,
Wow, come
that's
on.
not how it happened.
That's
Come
not
on,
what
guys.
happened.
Like, I always knew I had to pay it back, but I
Yeah.
did spend it like it was free money. It
That's
didn't
definitely a
feel.
money mindset thing, isn't it? Where you
Yeah,
just almost can't stop yourself. It's just,
yeah,
I know it feels, I wonder if it's the same for you, Maddy. It feels for me, whatever it is, not necessarily exactly what you've just described, but it feels like there's two sides, two big differences in your brain. One side is like, responsible, logical, grown up. And then there's that mind monkey going, ha ha, let's steal things, let's drink more,
it's
let's
the
smoke,
manic. And
all
that,
those
do you
things.
know what? ADHD could be described as a mind monkey. It
It
really
is, isn't
could,
it?
because it's a
It's
naughty little bugger, isn't it? Like,
so bad. And I never knew that's who I was. And I kept thinking, why you put a post on the other day, and I've no idea when this is going out, so the other day could mean anything, but you
yeah,
put
no,
a post
it'll probably be this week, next week, maybe.
whatever. You put a post on, and you said, what did you say? What was your post the other day? Oh God, now it's just gone straight out of my head because
Don't ask me. I post about 75 billion times a day, so, like, it could be
oh, it's
anything.
gone. It'll come back to me. Sorry, it'll come back to me. There was a post, and I thought, oh my God, that's exactly right. It'll come back to me. Sorry, we digress.
Yeah.
Come back to me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was about like not fitting in the workplace. Was it that one? No,
It was something to do with the mind monkey has just reminded me. It'll come to me, don't worry.
yeah,
Maybe we'll
yeah,
save it for another podcast. Sorry, my little
yeah.
mind
I mean,
monkey
wait,
decided not to play.
I always like people coming back. So yeah, we'll do another one. We digressed a lot there. So like, so what? How do you think your relationship with money, as like a teenager, how did that affect you going into adulthood?
It's actually quite similar to you in many ways, but I uh even now actually, or certainly by the time I met my second husband now, so we've been together, Roger and I've been together 23 years, and when I met him, for many years, and he didn't know about it. He knows now that he didn't know about it, but he didn't know for those good few years initially. I completely trusted him, and we joined our money, and we were kind of managing all our children, because he had 2 children, I have 2 children, and so there were 4 between us. See, I'm quite good at maths. 2 and 2 is 4, so that's my money.
Yeah, we've already discovered that.
Yeah, maybe
like,
we'll discuss that again. Yeah. So
but actually not a money specialist. Like, and this is one of the things I think a lot of people think, that as a money specialist you have to be good at maths.
no,
That's what
it's not a maths
calculators
thing.
are for. Like,
Yeah,
I'm just
exactly.
good at
It's
money.
not a
I'm just
maths
good at
thing.
managing it.
Yeah, of course. So when we first met, I had what I call my secret escape fund. So for years with my ex-husband, and he'd kept me quite short of money. I'd allowed that to happen, and I'm not blaming him. We didn't have a lot of money, but certainly at the end of our relationship, I was more at home with the kids and working part-time, so I was relying on him a lot more for money. So I developed over the years this escape fund, and not that I was trying to escape, but it was money that if I was ever in trouble, I could pay the mortgage for 3 months. So it was money that I stored away, and that goes back to me being kept short. Doesn't sound right really, because I wasn't kept short when I was younger, but as we've said, the mindset around it was, I'm not worthy of what I think I should have. So I had my escape fund, and that transferred into when I first met Roger, and had it for many years. And then at one point we were talking about buying, we were selling and buying our next house, and I can't remember what we needed the money for or what it was relating to specifically, but he said, oh, have you got any spare money lurking around, just so that I can see what we've actually got? Very financially minded. And I said, well, I might have 30-odd thousand pounds just
wow.
And he went, what? What's that doing in there? And I went, well, it's just been there for a while. I just didn't mention it because, and then it was many years after we met. I said, okay, well, now that's fine. No more secret. It was a big secret, but it was just there and not being touched. I was just sort of ferreting money away for no reason. He had no reason to need to do that. But anyway, it was like a little savings fund, and then it was blended into everything else. But it's even now in the back of my mind, and age coming up to 57, even though we are not short of money, Roger retired early through his own choice, and he's got the pension sorted and everything's fine and dandy. Even now, occasionally, if my business isn't doing particularly well, if I'm having a bad week, I'll say to him, so can I just talk to you about money? And I'll say, can you just I haven't got any money in the bank, or I've got a bill to pay, or whatever it is. And he'll say, you do know it's fine. And he'll show me in our bank, in his bank account, that it's not really a joint bank.
So do you guys have separate bank accounts?
Always.
Same. So 100%. Right, and this is so weird. And I'm going to show you this, so you don't know that I'm making this up, because I feel like we are. So this here, it says financial independence. This is literally a TikTok which is about to go out. I was in the middle of posting it when you joined the Zoom. And this is all about whether or not people have joint bank accounts. And so I did a post. What was it called? The post that I did, it was called Splitting Mortgages and Bills as a Couple.
Yes.
And I got so many people commenting saying, but if you're married, you should be a team, you should have everything together. And I'm like, no, I completely and utterly disagree with that, because
I completely get that.
When my parents got divorced when I was 15, 16 years old,
I was 15 as well. How funny is that?
my mum was working for my dad, and
Mm.
they had a shared bank account, and my mum basically, my dad had a nervous breakdown. It was all horrible.
Awful.
But my mum got left with nothing, and she had to start again. And
Yeah.
I just like, my husband is my world. He is my person. He's the love of my life. But we've always done it separately, and we always will do, and it works for us. Like,
That's so funny you should say that. My mum also was left with nothing when they split at
we're the
15.
same person, Jane.
Oh, she was a person. And she had a house that she'd owned. She'd been married and widowed before she met my dad.
Yeah.
She'd owned a house which she'd when she met my dad, and she'd signed it over to him. So she had to buy back that house that was hers, so that she and I could live in it when they split up. And it was like, I only knew this years later, but yeah, definitely separate bank accounts. And the only thing I will say is we do have one joint bank account because we're lucky enough, fortunate enough, it's not luck, as my husband says, fortunate enough to own a property abroad, our
Nice.
holiday home. So we have a joint bank account for that, because when we're there together anyway. So we just kind of,
Yes. Yeah.
but everything else, I'm sure it's the same. It must be the same with you, Maddy, then. It works really well with the two bank accounts. So if, for example, over the years, if I've been really short of money, I'll just say to him, can you put some money in my account, please?
Same.
It works same the other way. So when he first retired, while he was adjusting, I put money into his account when he needed it. And now things are much more stable. And I think that's work.
Absolutely.
That's really good teamwork.
Yeah, we're exactly the same. So when my business failed, I had literally nothing. I went and got a job for a bit because I decided entrepreneurship wasn't for me. Then I came back again because I decided that definitely being employed is definitely not for me. So I was like, no, I can't do that. And also I think I'm destined to be an entrepreneur, really.
100%.
But the situation at the time, like, I ended up with £35,000 worth of debts from my business closing, and it was really tough. So I was focusing on paying those off while he was focusing on paying the mortgage. It's actually my house. So although we're married, what's mine is his, what's his is mine. But it's I bought the house, it's my name on the mortgage, it's my thing. I did it after I became debt free the first time.
That's nice.
Happen here. But he is always amazing. And this month, absolutely messed up this month. It like last week I was on the train back from London, and all of a sudden I just had this like penny drop moment. I thought, oh my God, I haven't done any invoicing. Like, I have £3,000 worth of invoicing that I haven't done for my regular clients this month. I'm not going to be able to pay myself this month. And I was like, oh my God. So James came home from work and I was just like, I've done a boo-boo. And he was like, what have you done? What have you done? What have you done? Who have you pissed off this time? I'm like, nobody. I forgot to pay myself. And he was like, can you not just pay yourself? Do you not have enough money? And I was like, well, actually, I've got lots of money in the future. Like, I've got probably a pipeline of about 30 grand. But right this second, no, I don't. I'm just like, oh man alive.
But that's really good. That takes a real honest communication, doesn't it?
Oh, we're so honest about money. Like, there have been times, like, I mean, I remember like a couple of years ago, I came home from soft play with the kids, and he was just like, you had a bailiff visit while we were out, and I was like, why? I'm not in debt anymore. Why? And he was like, parking ticket. Damn it.
A bailiff? God, that's serious. How big was the parking ticket?
It wasn't how big, it was how long. It was like from 3 years previous.
Okay.
And I said, oh God, what did you do? And he was like, oh, I paid him. Just paid him to go away. And I was like, oh damn it, thank you. But we've always helped each other out. Like when we first got together, like, he was in quite a bit of debt and I paid off a lot of his debts for him because I was doing really well at the time. It swings and roundabouts. Like,
definitely.
We both know that we both have emergency funds. We both know that we are probably safe for 3 months if something was really bad was going to happen.
That's important.
But I don't know how much he's got in his bank account currently. I don't really care. He doesn't know how much is in mine. He doesn't care. We just have open conversations. And occasionally he'll catch me like raiding my cash envelope, my cash wallet, and he'll be like, that's your cash wallet, that's your savings. Why are you doing that? And I'm like, because I'm not sure that I've got enough money in my bank account to do this thing, and I need to do this
Yeah.
thing. And he's like, oh, I've just put some money over for you. And he's like, we're just really open with each other. We need that financial independence. Um,
But also that
it's
financial honesty as well, isn't it? Because I was brought up in an era when you mentioned anything about money or income to my father, and he would be like, we don't talk about.
I know.
And it's like, oh my God. I remember he had a little fishing boat once, and I remember saying to him, he'd sold it. And I suppose I was in my early adulthood. I can't remember my exact age. And I said to him, just innocently, so how much did you get for it? Brilliant. You sold it. That's good. And he went, we don't talk about that. And I went, I just want to know what those sorts of things are worth. I'm not going to look at your bank account. It's not that different.
No. And
But he didn't like that. Whereas our children, for example, so all four of our children, all working, all have jobs. Never once has any of them, when we've said, if they said we had a pay rise or something, they've never once had a problem if we said, oh, so how much are you on now? They just go, oh, this is what we're on.
Exactly.
They don't have that issue. There is no money mindset issue with them. They're like, okay, we're happy to tell you, no problem. This is what I'm on now. This is my bonus, which I think is so lovely, because it was all so secret as I was growing up, and nobody was ever allowed to know what anybody was earning. Nobody was ever allowed to discuss money, and God forbid you actually, charge for something, and
I know.
you're charging from it, and that's a whole different conversation, I'm sure. But
I mean, times have massively changed. I think like my mum finds it weird, I think, when I talk about how much I earn and the things that I'm doing. And
yeah.
she's like, oh, like it is a very strange situation where like we want to be kind of in that zone. It's very weird. But anyway, we have 10 minutes left of this podcast.
Okay.
So let's talk about you and what's happening now. So what you do and like how you can help people. So we were going to talk about menopause and money. I think we might have to save that for another day.
Well, I could just say something about menopause and money. It's more about the wellness industry and money, and I'll make it really, really quick because I think it's pertinent, is that I work in the women's female health industry. So menopause, nutrition, HRT is my specialism. I do some of that for free in my free group. I'll offer support. But
what's the group called?
So the free group is the biggest group I've got, which is called the HRT Truth Collective. Now, I'm not in there as much at the moment. I used to be in there all the time, but essentially
kind of runs itself.
And it runs itself. And if they need me, then I'm in there. And I do a few lives and I feed them information that they want to know.
Yeah.
Is exactly how it should be. But aside from that, when it comes to money mindset in the wellness industry, it's really hard, because women do not invest in themselves from a health perspective. We always put ourselves on the back burner. So trying to earn money and run a business in the industry I work in is challenging at best. I get, and I know you understand this, Maddy, I get a lot of online abuse, because I'm told I am abusing vulnerable women, I'm taking advantage of vulnerable women, I shouldn't charge for my services, blah, 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 all of that. It's completely wrong. Most of what I do is really low cost or free. And for those that want more, of course, they can pay more and they can have
absolutely.
So, that might be like, for example, I do one-to-one.
If you want free menopause advice, go to the doctors who know fuck all about it.
There we go. Exactly. And I absolutely stand by everything I say and everything I do, and do my absolute best to make sure that it's affordable and accessible to all women. But you don't have to pay to work with me. You can just suck up all the free stuff that I put in the free group, which is absolutely fine. But that mindset in the wellness industry and the menopause industry as well is really poor, where women think that they shouldn't invest in their health, and they feel as if they're being abused if that's the case. You would never say to your doctor, how dare you earn a salary? You would never say that. And you're happy to spend a few £100s on having a facial. but that's not helping you necessarily from well, it might help you a little bit from a mindset perspective, mental well-being, but people are happy to do that or have their nails done, but not happy to spend a couple of £100 sorting their menopause symptoms out and being their lives. And it's very frustrating for me, because there's so many more things I can do if people would just go, yeah, I'll enter your low-cost membership. I've got a VIP membership called Jane, VIP Health with Jane, sorry, and that's really low cost, and they have access to me on a fairly regular basis. But people think, well, why should I when I can get it for free? Well, yeah, you can get a lot of stuff if you just Google it. It's not exactly what you want, really.
No, you need that advice and the support. I think, you know, we have it all the time, you know, from Mad About Money, because Mad About Money is a free app, but we make zero money from it. It's probably the most expensive lead magnet I've ever owned.
But it's expensive.
Yeah, but we're about to launch our membership.
Good.
But I think we're going to have the same problem. We're going to have people who are like, oh, why are you charging for this? And I'm like, well, we've got a free community, and you are more than welcome to hang around in there and get all of the free advice and the free stuff that we do and ask your questions. But, you know, we've got AI and we've got some bits coming in that are quite exciting. But we have to work out how to pay for it. You know, we can't just keep giving these things to people for free, because, you know, otherwise we don't earn any money and it's not great. You know, when I was
sustainable, is it then?
No, I got called a course whore when I was helping Lisa Johnson with One to Many, because people were like, how dare you teach people how to make money? This is horrific. And I'm like, it's a really good course. I've done it myself. And actually, I don't ever promote anything unless I've done it myself. And that is the thing. I will always stand by my morals and say, do you know what? I did it. It worked for me. So I'm helping other people to work for it. And people get me as part of it, you know? So the people are weird, aren't they? So
well, we're weird as well. So, you know.
Well, we are, and that's fine. And I'm totally okay with that. I think the further I get into my 40s, the more okay I am with how my brain is and how weird I am, because, you know, let's embrace it, people.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I'm about to launch my new membership, which is for neurodivergent entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs who also have hidden disabilities, or you know, their parents, they're feeling overwhelmed, they've got too many things going on, and I help them to get visible, like I got myself visible.
Yeah, of course.
And it's going to be £7 a month. I'm not sure if that's the worst mistake in the world, but I'm hoping if I get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in, it will actually make it worthwhile, and it'll be fine.
I think it's really worthwhile. I mean, £7 a month I think that's a good starting point anyway.
Yeah, and if I find that it's making me insane, and I can always put the price up, but I think, you know, it's a good start. And I think, you know, I've got so much to give people, and at the moment I'm not giving to the full, you know, I think we love giving back, don't we? So this is my way of giving people who can't necessarily afford my coaching a little bit of a kick in the right direction.
Yeah, no, I can.
But Jane, tell everybody where people can find you.
The best place to start is my website, which is menopausalnotmad.co.uk. I'm occasionally in the HRT Truth Collective, which is my free group, and all the other ways that you can reach me are on the website anyway, so I won't bore you with the list.
Amazing. It's been lovely to have you on and hear some of your money story. I think we've had a really great conversation, considering we weren't planning any of this. It's been really good. So for those of you guys who are listening on Spotify, Apple Music, or on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. Leave us a review. Tell us what you think of this podcast and share it with your friends. If you're not in the Mad About Money app already, go and download it. It is a free to use app that helps neurodivergents with money. Wherever you are in your money journey, from debt to saving to planning for the future, starting a business, growing a business, we can help you in the app. I'm Maddy Alexander-Grout. You can find me on LinkedIn and TikTok, Mad About Money Official, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks for listening.